Hey everybody, the Super Duke here, and we're going to talk a bit about downshifting. Downshifting is simple once you get it, but it takes a bit of practice to master. A lot of people are questioning blipping, or they don't even know what blipping is, a bit of newer riders, and I didn't either. Blipping the throttle is when you want to go from, say, second to first gear. You give it a bit of gas as you're making the downshift, and what this does is raise the RPMs a bit so that you can match the engine speed to the wheel speed instead of downshifting so much that your RPMs just spike off the tack insanely and cause your rear end to lock up. They can potentially cause your rear wheel to lock up, and you'll notice this feeling because suddenly your bike will wiggle. And when I used to do it, I didn't know. When I first started riding, I started on 94 Katana 750. It didn't have a slipper clutch or anything, and I didn't really know about blipping at first. And I would go out ride, and I'd go from second to first, or third to second, and I'd be going fast, but I wouldn't blip the throttle, so my RPMs would spike and my rear wheel would lock, and I'd almost crash. It would like wiggle around and almost slide out, and I was like, what the hell's going on? I thought you just downshift. What am I doing wrong? Well, I found out you had to blip the throttle, and it's very, very simple. Okay, you're going in second gear, right? And I like to blip the throttle for upshifts too, but I mean, whatever. Talk about that later. But you're going from first or second to first, and you're at third, right? Now watch what happens when I want to switch to second. I put my foot over the shift, I get my hand ready to pull in the clutch, and at the same time as I pull in the clutch and push down on the shift pedal, I give it a little bit in the RPMs. Did you see that spike? It went from 3 to 5,000, and then I caught it and continued rolling at 4. All you got to do is get it about 1 to 2,000 RPM higher than whatever you're at. And what this is going to do is when you're done shifting, the RPM should be falling back down at the same time you're done shifting. And you can get back to a steady throttle and catch the RPMs at where they should be for whatever speed you're going. And you can do this with even more than 2,000, but if you go too high, you rev it too much on the blip, you're going to end up going faster than you were before. If you do it smoothly and you catch it at the right point, then you can maintain pretty much a constant speed through any amount of gears you want. Say, well, as long as the gear you're in isn't too high for the speed you're going. Like, see, I can go all the way to third, fourth. That's too high. Fourth is way too high for whatever speed I'm going, probably like 25. But you see right there, 3 to 4. And then if you give it too little, you'll notice that the bike wants to slow down and jerks a lot. This just means that you need to blip higher because you're not giving it enough RPMs for the speed you're going, so the engine is having the engine brake and having to catch itself at a lower RPM. And if you do this from like 9,000 to 4,000, that's what's going to cause your rear wheel to lock up. So you're going in second. Oh, look at that. If you don't blip, you're going to experience a lot of engine braking to the point where it locks up your wheel or just really messes up your corner entry. So you don't want to do that. You don't want engine braking unless you want it. Second, see, watch the difference. If I just slam it down, the bike jerks crazy, right? You don't want that. You want everything to be smooth. You don't want any jerking whatsoever. But if you go from second and then you go to first and you engine brake, or sorry, not engine brake, but you blip on the downshift. See, I should have given it more RPMs there in order to knock out that little bit of engine braking. Let's try it again. Oh, look at that. Nice and smooth. And that's what you want to aim for. You want to aim to be able to downshift from all 6 gears without disrupting the bike whatsoever. And you don't want to feel any kind of jerkiness whatsoever from the bike on any of the shifts. And let me try to demonstrate what I mean here. So first to second, it pulled a little bit, but it's not bad. Second to third. And one tip, I started doing this when I started blipping and shifting gears really fast, but one thing I do is on the clutch release, at the very end, maybe the last 5–10% of the clutch release, I trail it out. I slowly let it out, and what this does It allows the engine to kind of grip onto the gear that you selected and find out where it needs to be without being all jerky. I find that I can go any gear, any RPM really, and if I let out that clutch slowly near the end, I can feel the bike is ready for that speed and that RPM return. It's kind of hard to explain, but as you can see here, the bike, you can barely notice that I'm shifting. It's kind of just use the last 10% of the clutch to feel the sweet spot in the RPM. See, it's just like I'm just slowing down the throttle, but I'm actually going from third to first. And you can see with my wrist here, the blipping is a very slight motion. If you want to find out how much to blip, take a look at your tach and give it a little blip. You see how it's going from third to fifth? You only want to raise it about 1,000 to 2,000 RPMs above whatever RPM you're at that moment. So, actually there's a back road over here. Let's just go that way. And I don't have to worry about people anymore. But yeah, you kind of, I hope you get the idea. First to second, I'm at 4,000 right now. So what am I going to want to be at? I'm going to be between 5 and 6. Yeah, barely any jerk. I just had to slow down. That's the stop sign now. But here we go. I'll be able to show you more in action. This will make more sense. So, for this, do you want to have corner entry like this? That was not that bad, but I mean, the engine braking was just so extreme, I rather would have posted it. Or would you rather have a corner entry like this? Maybe not that one. Let's try this. Oh shit, an object. Okay, see, it was just like, the engine got louder, but basically the bike stayed the same kind of smooth. Now, if you don't downshift and you're in fourth gear and you just want to quickly shift down and you don't, you can expect to slide out the rear like I said, for example. Oh, no, wait, I can't do it on this bike because I have a slipper clutch. Ha, I forgot. Slipper clutches, you don't even need to blip. I'm so unused to having a slipper clutch coming from bikes without slipper clutches that, I still blip. I don't know, I feel like I can get a smoother result with blipping than slipping. Blipping than slipping. But, it's good to practice regardless. I mean, you can hop on a buddy's bike and he doesn't have a slipper clutch and then you want to go ride it and you end up messing it up on a downshift because you slammed it down and expected a slipper. But that's all there is to it. You want to try to stick in the mid-range at all times. So right now I'm at 6 coming up to a corner. I'll just stay here because I know my RPMs go up to 9,000 and I have plenty of power left. But if you're too high, like 4,000 is not that bad because I'm on a V-twin that has torque in all the range. But on an inline 4, you want to be going into a corner in 4,000. And on inline 4s, I like to stick at least 6,000 on up because that's the mid-range of the power band most of the time. But yeah, that's really all there is to it. Say I want to slow down, right? I use engine braking a lot to slow down. Bang down 2 gears, blip for each one, and then as soon as the RPM lands right where you want to be, stop, hold the throttle steady, and go from there. And remember, if you're pulling in the clutch, downshifting, those final 5 to 10%, let it out slowly, and you'll be able to feel if it's in the right spot or not. What if you really need to downshift really quickly, say for an emergency? Well, the best thing to do is to practice your blip with 1 gear at first, and then it's as simple as doing it for multiple gears. For example, I'm in 6th gear right now, way too high, the engine's lugging, but I need to quickly slow down for this. You need to know your bike and how it's going to react in each gear. So I just took it from 6th to 3rd, but I was able to do so without disrupting the bike at all. Some people would be herking and jerking and getting too much engine brake because of a bad blip or a bad downshift in that kind of situation. But you need to know how your bike's going to act in what RPM range, what gear you need to be in for how slow you want to go, and how much blip to give it to get there. So this thing, you know, it's really just do the blip once and then time the blip with each clutch pull and release pull. You need to fully release the clutch in order to shift to another gear without just double shifting gears. I mean, you can slam it down multiple gears at once, like go from 3rd to 1st, but it's better just to slowly do it. And then I slowly release the clutch, feel the effects of the engine brake, catch the RPMs where I want to catch them, and go from there.